So we've been doing this public tour here for about the last, well, certainly the last 7 years. Every year we have a little tour. This one is particularly exciting because we're kind of at the end point of the construction of a lot of our more dramatic features on the project that you're going to see today. So, I don't want to get into the details of that, but why don't I just turn it over to our aquatic scientist, Rich Gross. He's going to give a little presentation and talk about what we've done and what we're going to see today. We'll have a little Q&A after that. And then we'll talk about safety issues before we all jump in the buses and go out and see some things on the ground. That's the agenda. Everybody get an agenda, a handout? Okay. All right, let's get this thing started. Fantastic. If I was on the center, they'd make a movie out of me.
Well, you never know. Yeah, this is a big version of ours. Project.
All of that. How has that have these projects met your goals?
Well, the settlement agreement had various parts and pieces. The majority of them that you see is example the fish passage that we have here right behind us. You see the wildlife bridges. You see the very large civil types of projects. But you don't see some of the things like the recreation management where Pacific Corp pays for the operation and maintenance for campgrounds. You don't see the vegetation management with the noxious weeds. You don't see the transportation management part where there's a cost share for the use of roads and bridges. So there's a whole bunch of parts and pieces that are going on behind the scene that the general public doesn't see. And then we also have the mitigation fund, which is a large fund that Pacific Corp puts into an escrow account for the federal agencies for mitigating impacts that were not covered by the settlement agreement. So there's all types of parts and pieces that people don't actually see. And the Forest Service believes that we do have, when the settlement agreement was made back in 2001, between the settlement agreement, our 4E terms and conditions, that it was a well-balanced package for the federal lands.
And because these projects, they take in, if you could just kind of point out again, like recreation improvements, wildlife crossings, connectivity for fish and wildlife. So has it become more of a, like they say, does the project blend in more now to the forest that you work on?
The Northwest Forest Plan required a lot of connectivity, and that's where we had a lot of streams that previously went into the canals now have bridges and opportunities, culverts, those sort of things that actually take them over the canals and connect them back with the natural landscape. And and that again is another project that, unless the people actually can get out on the ground and see those, that you don't really know about. But it is that the Pacific Corps did receive the low impact certification from the Low Impact Hydropower Institute, saying that it is a green type of project.
So it is blending in better than it was, say, when this was built back in the 1950s.
Yeah, it's been 60 years here since we've seen an anadromie up above the Soda Springs Dam. So again, you have connectivity with the sediments coming through. You have fish passage both up and down. You've got opportunities here where you have the tail race barriers, and again the connectivity of across the canals and the bridges, and so it's definitely made. Lots of improvements have been made.
Take it Soda Springs fish ladder is the grand climax of it all.
The Soda Springs passage here was the cornerstone of the settlement agreement. So it was one of the major civil projects and improvements of the settlement agreement. So we're very pleased to see that that this is now operating, and that there actually have been some fish have been visually seen above the dam here.
Have they been seen like some of the migrating type fish?
The anadromous fish, we have not had actual documentation other than